Okay, so welcome to the final of the UPC Books Individual Championships for 2008 to 2009. This is the sixth staging of the event, our sixth season now. For 3 out of the first 4 seasons, the event was won by Paul Edwards. It'll be some record for someone to go on and try and beat. Marc McCulloch's also a previous winner, and I'm pleased to be joined in the commentary box by the only other person ever to have won the event, Rich Wharton.
Thanks, John. Pleasure to be here.
So we're going to have a new name on the trophy this year. We've got Marc Higgins from the University of Ulster, and that's Lee Morris from the University of the West of England at Bristol. How do you think this match is going to go then, Rich?
I personally see Lee as a massive favourite, going on form in this tournament so far. He's dropped 3 frames in 6 matches so far, winning a total of 26 frames, I think. 26 out of 29 is quite a staggering achievement, to be honest.
Marc Higgins is certainly a new player to the UK Inter-Universities event. He's played a few times in the Irish Inter-Varsities, but this is the first time we've seen him in the UPC Books UK Inter-Universities event. So Lee Morris has won the lag and taken the opening break, but he's come up dry. So it's going to be Marc that gets the first look at the balls here.
It's definitely been his biggest problem so far in the tournament. Lee has really struggled to get a ball off the break, apart from in the semi-final. In his 5 matches previous to that, I think he'd got maybe 2 balls off the break in the whole tournament.
You get the feeling with this match that Marc's going to have to be pretty clinical. When he gets chances, he's going to have to suddenly make sure he takes them, or if not, suddenly lock the frames down. You can't really make mistakes against a player like Lee Morris.
Well, it depends what kind of mistakes you're talking about, John. I mean, if you make the sort of mistakes where you leave Lee any kind of a finish, then you're really going to be in trouble. But where the more tactically astute players would see a mistake being something that would give them a tactical advantage, Lee wouldn't really see it that way and wouldn't take advantage of that as such.
A little surprised that Marc turned the finish down there, or perhaps a good tactic to just try and let himself settle into this first frame?
I don't think he could see a potting angle on a ball there, John. Quite a clever shot from Lee there, just to cover the black. Leave not a lot. The only way that the finish can be taken out here with reds is to leave the red that's just off the cushion nearest the 2 yellows that are on the cushion, and play it off the yellow that's next to the black, and move the ball off the rad in the same shot. It's a difficult shot, but it was the only way to get them.
I imagine you'd have been taking the finish on.
Yeah, I'm not known for my defensive tactics.
So, a little bit of tactics to open this first frame. The players just feeling each other out for the time being.
Yeah, it's certainly good to see Lee doing something other than going for the finish. It shows that he's in the right frame of mind. He's patient. Bit of commotion in the crowd. It seems those Irish boys can't hold the drink as well as they thought they could.
Certainly wasn't one of the Scottish students. I say it certainly wasn't one of the Scottish students.
No, that definitely wasn't tap water being spilt.
expecting Lee Morris to make an attempt to clear here then, Rich, or is he just going to take a bit of try and take a stranglehold?
You never really know with Lee, to be honest. I think he was trying, obviously, to roll the ball over the bag, but a little bit of a mistake there.
Has that cost him the advantage in this frame?
Not really, not too much. Not if he plays this the right way. I mean, as long as he keeps the red tight with the 2 yellows on the side rail, doesn't leave an easy opener to move that ball, I don't think Marc will go for the finish.
30 seconds.
I'm assuming Lee can only see these 2 yellows on the left side rail, so is he just going to be rolling up to them, Rich, or will he be glancing off them?
Personally, I'd probably flick off the one he was closest to and leave it in behind the other red that's close by.
Come on, Higgins.
But he's played quite a tidy shot there. He's tied up the problem red even further.
It's quite a tense atmosphere here to start this match.
It's definitely a lot quieter than it usually is when one of the Ulster guys is playing.
It's quite an aggressive shot from Marc, but I'm not entirely sure it's worked out that well for him.
I don't think it was aggressive. I think he was trying to take the pocket. The way he played it, I'd be very surprised if he was doing anything more.
He's made absolutely sure that that yellow wasn't going down the pocket there.
It's a more measured approach from Lee so far in this frame than we've seen so far in the tournament. He tends to be a lot more attack-minded than this usually. He's definitely got his game head on today.
You see that as you obviously see that as a good thing then, that he's his head of play means business. Wouldn't sort of slightly worry you that he's sort of not playing his natural game at this stage?
I think in the final of any tournament, you've simply got to do whatever you've got to do to win, and whatever your natural game is doesn't really come into it too much. There's no point playing your natural game and losing. It's about whether you win the match or not. Be disappointed there not to run through another couple of inches. If he'd have run through another couple, he'd have been on a fairly routine finish.
Just attempting to bend round the red there.
Yeah, he was trying to open up the 2 yellows. He's been quite unfortunate that they've double kissed each other and stayed where they are. So, with the ball over the pocket, he's definitely got the advantage, but he'd have had a bigger advantage had the 2 yellows come out.
Certainly, yeah. I think while Marc's got this one of his red balls right next to the yellow that's covering this bottom right corner pocket, Marc's going to be very sceptical about moving the red he's got on that left cushion, because it's pretty much what's keeping him in this frame at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's now going to be removed from the equation.
Didn't have a lot of area to play with there, Marc. But
Not a great shot there, though, John. I mean, if he drops the ball in the middle and rolls the ball down the rail, then Marc's actually got the advantage all of a sudden. Just got to cover the bag with this red.
He's hit it a little hard.
That's loose. In a situation like that, it's always better to make sure that you don't hit the pocket. Make sure that you hit either the side cushion first or aim quite far out onto the far jaw, depending on which cushion you'd rather the ball end up on. and make sure you don't hit the pocket. If you rely simply on weight, then it's very easy to misjudge it.
To be fair, we saw a good example of that earlier in this frame when Lee covered the pocket to the bottom right of the table with his yellow ball. Made absolutely sure that there was no way that ball was going to drop. So Mark's just attempted to seal that ball we were talking about off completely, but I'm not entirely sure he's managed.
Lee will just roll onto this. Yeah, clever shot now. Now Marc will have to move the red, unless he decides to go one cushion and hit the red that's in the middle of the table.
I don't think Marc's got any choice, has he, Rich? He can't. There's no sort of pot on, there's no safety on by playing the red that's right near the white. He's going to have to surely play for the loose one.
I think that's his only option if he wants to stay in the front.
Maybe an option to just try and roll the black over the opposite corner bag. Slightly risky, but
I don't know. He's trying to swerve around the jaw, I think.
Foul. 2 visits.
well, it's not a bad shot. It's they'll probably buy him another shot at least, but it's certainly not a frame changer.
Very risky though, John. If he'd have caught that back much fuller, could have been in serious trouble.
Second visit.
I'm not sure he had a great deal of choices there. He's big second favourite now, Marc.
All depends now on whether Lee wants to have a real go at these or not. I think if it were me, I'd probably flick off the yellow that he's now lining up at and billiard the plant in, because then you're going to be leaving the yellow you're playing quite close to the top cushion and leaving yourself a shot at it.
Yeah, I think if Lee could get to the middle of the white ball here, he'd probably take this on, but sort of he's not the tallest of chaps, and bridging over the ball, I don't think he's entirely happy with where the white's going to be ending up, so it's possible.
I think that's a fair shot now. I think it's a good choice. He knows that he can't leave his opponent in, and he's kept all his balls in play.
Not a great deal for Marc to do here. He obviously can't snooker Lee. He certainly won't. Well, I'm surprised. I wouldn't have thought he would have wanted the red in the pocket.
No, I think he was trying to play at two cushions to cover the black.
Yes, quite possibly a good shout. It's pretty much down to the stage where
Lee's going to play the billiard here, I think.
It's not come out great.
No, it definitely could have been big.
Would you play the yellow up the table now, Rich, with the relative safety that all you have to do is pot it?
No, I think you've got to just trust in your own ability and just get on the other ball. I'd probably be playing a mass out on the side rail, but Lee did that fantastically well.
Excellent shot. Quite a lot of side on that ball just to hold it this side of the red. So we're finally down to a situation where we really should be seeing the frame now. Not that entirely cleanly, but still. Just having a good walk around the table to compose himself now. So, the first frame of the 2008 to 2009 UPC Books Individual Championship Final goes to Higgins.
A little bit of a scrappy frame, but that's almost to be expected in a final like this, for neither player's made a final like this before.
Obviously it'd be crass of us not to mention the fact that there's obviously a £900 prize fund on this match alone, but is it more the money, do you think, that will be weighing on the players' minds, Rich, or the fact that they're playing for the title of UK University's 8-ball pool singles champion 2008 to 2009.
Well, I know that personally
Second frame.
the way that Lee's been talking to me about it is that the title means a hell of a lot to him. The money's a nice bonus, but he's determined to win this title. He wanted it quite badly last year, and he's not wasted many opportunities to tell me in the last 24 hours that he's going to be taking the title that I won last year. I think, at least for him, I can't speak for Marc, but at least for Lee, the title's more important than the money.
Yellow ball's in play.
So Marc's got the upper hand early in this second frame. Potting a red ball off the break and electing to keep the reds and then take this bottom left-hand corner pocket.
To be honest, John, I don't really think that he has got much of an advantage. If Lee just drops in the red that's over the pocket, then,
Foul.
well, that's
2 visits.
not the shot I've been leaving. If he'd have dropped it in, he'd have been leaving the red that's on the balk line. Leaving both sides of it, therefore not leaving the foul snooker, not leaving an easy development on either, or sorry, not leaving an easy development to get both of those problem balls out that are in the bottom end of the table.
I think you can kind of understand Lee's thinking there. I think he's just gone 1-0 up and he's quite keen to ask the question of Marc now. He's going to make Marc play these 2 balls out first shot, and then let's see. He's basically saying, can you finish them with the 1 visit you've got left, Marc?
Yeah, but he could have made him waste a shot if he'd have just dropped the red in that was over the pocket, and not given him a shot to open both balls up in one go. Because Marc's been quite unfortunate not to develop the reds a little bit better than that. He's landed with one on the side rail, which, were it not on the side rail, this is quite a routine clearance.
This shot should tell us quite a lot about how Marc's thinking here. He's either going to have to go for this pot full-blooded, or try and cover the bag to consolidate an advantage in this frame.
I think if I were 1-0 up, I'd probably go for the finish. If I were 1-0 down, I think I'd be covering the pocket here. That said, there is a school of thought that the right shot is the right shot regardless of the score.
It's quite a decent shot from Lee there. He's obviously total snookered Marc. I'm not sure, I think Lee might well have cut the 1 cushion escape off to the bad red as well.
Foul.
It's not a disaster for Marc, but he'd obviously have preferred to have hit that red and just brought it out into open play.
Yeah, I think Marc's still a big favourite in this frame now. With 3 balls down near the red over the pocket, it's very difficult for Lee to get into this frame in a convincing way.
Do you think a similar shot to what you were describing earlier, where if Lee just sort of rolled to pot the red that's over the bottom left-hand corner pocket, only leaving Marc a sight of the red on the balk line, do you think a similar sort of shot could be effective for Lee now?
It could be. It wouldn't be the way I'd personally play it. I would be trying to leave myself in line with the black and play the black onto the 3-ball plant down the rail to pot the red. That way you're going to be covering the pocket with a yellow and tying the black up with two yellows on the side rail. Also, if you left the white where the black is now, it's you wouldn't be leaving a first shot at anything. the red into the middle.
Do you think this is an example of a situation where Lee's sort of comparative lack of experience of playing world rules possibly works against him with the 1 minute the 1 minute per shot clock rule? It sort of gives him a little less time to work out what he thinks the correct option, whereas some of the other players might know straight away.
Yeah, I think the point you're making, John, is that when you're transferring your knowledge from one rule set to another, the 1 minute can come into play. I don't think that the minute rule in itself is a problem, because other rule sets use the minute rule as well. But if you're used to playing one rule set, then you naturally see the right shot quicker in that rule set. And if you're transferring across, then having a reasonably short amount of time to make a decision can definitely be a hindrance.
He's spotted a shot that not many other people did there. It's not worked out brilliantly for him, but he's certainly got a chance.
That's quite simply amazing. Only a Blackpool rules player would go for that.
Still slightly tricky. The yellow that he's just bridging over now, I don't think will go to the middle pocket on the left side of the table. It might well be material now. I think he's too close to the yellow ball to have a shot on anything here.
I think he can snick the yellow he's closest to into the middle.
Certainly a very fine cut if the shot's on. He may just be looking at the one in baulk.
He can play the ball in baulk.
It wasn't such a bad result at all for Lee there. Just one good positional shot away from being able to take a finish out again here.
It'll take a good shot here, but he's got to screw back past the yellow that he's closest to and leave that yellow to either the same pocket or to the middle pocket on the right hand side of the table.
I presume he's obviously played to get on the sort of batter of the two yellows to the right middle in this shot, but just under hit it slightly.
Great Higgins!
It's amazing just having to put that little extra bit of work on the cue ball. It's caused him to miss the pot, and we've now got the first sort of proper look at a finish for Marc Higgins. It's not the best opening pot, but still certainly the favourite.
Yeah, it's not ideal to leave the ball over the pocket till last and play position on the black from there, given where the black is, especially with the yellow being somewhere in between. If you come wide of the red at all, then
It's certainly hard to judge the reaction of the white, because he's obviously be potting the red ball and then going straight into that knuckle of the corner pocket. I think Marc almost tried to take that knuckle out of the equation and screw perhaps twice across the table to get right.
Really dangerous shot there. I mean, you've got all sorts of ways to snooker yourself going that way.
Certainly not left the easiest black ball either. Quite some distance away with that.
think he's been quite fortunate there to cover one yellow with the black.
Yeah, certainly.
Leaving tied on the other yellow.
No obvious pot and no obvious safety.
I fully expect to see Lee knock the yellow he's closest to into the middle.
It's a very, very thin pot if it's on at all, Rich.
I think he'll play it quite slow, drag the white onto the other side.
A real chance then now for Marc to level this match up at 1-1.
Uncharacteristic miss there. To be honest, I don't ever expect to see Lee miss a pot like that.
You take your time, make sure now.
Just dropped it off the draw, so Marc Higgins has levelled the match at 1 frame all.
Yeah, the black definitely thought about it there, didn't it?
He's perhaps a little surprised he took it to the middle, Rich. We might have had a look at the bottom right hand corner.
I'd have definitely taken it to the corner, didn't it? The middle pocket was pretty much a blind pocket and he didn't have the whole pocket to aim at.
Referee John Paul Eames just racking the balls now, and then it'll be Lee Morris to break in the 3rd frame.
Third frame, Lee to break, and frame all. I'm running.
He's once again struggling to make a ball off his break. Seems to be getting the power into the break, getting a good enough split, but the balls just aren't threatening the bags off his break, Rich.
Well, I don't really agree that they're splitting that well. I mean, the sign of a good break is when you see the pack split straight through the middle. And
Balls in play.
if you're not hitting them quite right, the pack seems to have maybe 5 or 6 balls come out, and then as they come back towards the pack, they open up a little bit more again. So the net result is that you end up with a pack of balls that are quite well spread, but you haven't had much pace on any balls moving around the table. To get balls off the break regularly, you need to make 8 or 9 balls move a fair distance around the table.
Nevertheless, Marc's manufactured himself a chance here. Just one of his earlier shots just nudged the red right up close to the black, so he may well have to... Well, I was about to say he may well have to do something with the black to manufacture a finish there, but it's just missed the plant to the middle pocket, trying to force an angle there. Just hesitated. It was very, very close to fluking one of the balls in the top right hand corner.
Yeah, that would have been a heartbreaker for Lee, because he'd have also left an angle on the other yellow to move the black out.
Not the result Lee wanted. He'd have played to have been in behind the red there, but second prize, but he's encouraging Marc to move his yellow out of that danger area where the black is.
To be fair, if he flicks off the yellow he's closest to and hits the black full in the face, he knocks a red up towards his other yellow that's over the pocket, gives him a massive tactical advantage. I don't think he'll see the shot though.
So, looks like Marc's back on the trail of going for a finish. but he's still going to need a shot to split that black out from somewhere. This may well be his only chance.
Yeah, I think this is fairly standard. I'd be quite surprised if he doesn't do something with it. Oh, he's flicked it but not quite got it out.
Worse still, I think he may well have snookered himself on both the others there, Rich.
With a tracer side, he can pop the ball over the pocket. If he comes across and ends parallel with the other ball, then he can pop that in the middle and run into the black.
Slightly unpredictable as to where you're going to leave the white. Just bending round and playing cushion first, though. Indeed, he's not even hit the
Certainly
ball.
unpredictable if you don't hit the ball you're aiming at.
So not by no means an easy finish here for Lee, but certainly one that you'd expect him to have a fair attempt at with 2 visits.
I'd be very surprised if Lee doesn't knock this finish in.
Do you think Lee played just for a little flick on the black there, Rich?
Yeah, definitely.
Got one on the red that time, but not quite enough to open the both balls up for potting angles. Oh, I could well be wrong. Perhaps this red does go to the opposite middle.
Black ball player's mentality, John. Take the finish out in one shot.
It's just about ideal to just stun down behind the black. There we have it. It's a 2-1 lead for Lee Morris after 3 frames of this final. We're of course going to 6 this time, so it's not quite so much a disaster for Marc to be behind at this early stage. A bit more time for him to recover the deficit this time.
Yeah, taking out a solid finish in one visit might just be the catalyst that gets Lee up and running, as it were. He's been a little bit patchy so far in this match. He'll be happy to be 2-1 ahead. Marc Higgins hasn't really had too many opportunities, but it's been quite a nervy affair all round so far.
Fourth frame. Marc to break. Trailing 2 frames to 1. Time running.
Solid break from Marc there. Quite unfortunate to land the white on the top cushion. If this were in the middle of the table, I think this is a fairly routine chance.
Still only one good pot away from turning it into that chance there. Perhaps didn't hit that quite as hard as I thought he might. Just made sure of the pot.
Yeah, it's a fine balance to be struck between playing a ball that's on the cushion, playing it with confidence, and playing it with pace that pushes the ball wide.
I was surprised that Marc missed that last pot. Purely really just the pace that's kept it out of that middle bag. Do you think will Lee be looking to go straight for a finish here again to put the heat the pressure on Marc, Rich?
Right, Marc, come on here, mate. Second chance.
I don't think Lee's really thinking about how to keep pressure on. I think Lee's feeling a lot of pressure himself, and I think his main priority is simply to keep that scoreboard ticking over in the best way he can. I don't think he's specifically thinking of any individual tactic to put his opponent under any more pressure. So it's quite hard in a first to six match to adopt a mentality that will force your opponent to do one thing or another. In a money match or in a challenge match that goes over maybe 25, 30 frames, it's definitely possible to affect your opponent's psychology, but in a match first to six, it's quite difficult to do so, and it's just important to make sure that you do what you can do to the best of your own ability rather than trying to affect your opponent too much.
Not sure if Marc's tried to move that ball off the balk rail there, but certainly it's all of a sudden turned into quite a difficult chance for him now. He's stranded one red down towards the bottom right of the table. Wouldn't be at all surprised to see him just fetch this red off now.
Yeah, that was definitely the right shot to play. He's actually left Lee a gap to the yellow that's next to the red down the bottom of the table. And I fully expect to see Lee go for these from here now.
Not the best cannon off the black for Lee.
No, it's been quite unfortunate.
Lee may well have the angle here to just pop the yellow that he's nearest to into the left middle pocket and run the white ball into the black. And that should push the yellow that's right next to the black down towards the bottom left hand corner. So once again it's now a situation that you'd fully expect Lee Morris to be taking this frame out from here.
Unlucky really from Marc's point of view to have left that long yellow, but very solid finish from Lee Morris.
Perhaps a little careless from Marc Rich not to have checked that he wasn't leaving that gap.
It was a very thin gap, and yeah, he should have checked, but most people would have taken a simple cursory look at it and thought that it was going to be safe. I mean, there was maybe a ball's width and a couple of millimetres on either side through a gap in 5 or 6 balls. It was really unlucky to leave that, but again, as I say, it's a good first pot from Lee Morris and a really solid finish to back it up.
So it's 3-1 to Lee then in this race to 6. It'll be Lee to break in this 5th frame.
He almost looks surprised to be 3-1 up.
Certainly starting to look a little bit more relaxed.
Lee to break, leading 3
I
frames
wonder if
to
he'll be able to
1.
make a ball off his break this time. Had a little think about it, but he's going from the same place as the previous time.
I just think if the pack splits through the middle, he'll get a ball. Again, they seem to split off at one side and didn't get a ball.
Slightly careless from Lee, would you say, to be going straight in off in one of the middle pockets?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't look to me like he was kicked in off. I always say if you've been kicked in off, it's unlucky. If you go directly in off, it's a bad shot. But that said, I think Lee's really struggling with his break, and I think he's sacrificing a certain amount of control in order to try and get a ball.
Marc Higgins has taken the red ball. By no means an easy chance for Marc. Do you think he'll take this on, Ridge? He certainly looks as though he is. It wouldn't be a disaster to cover the pocket.
shot, Mark.
I think this is a standard finish. I think if you're not going to go for finishes like this, then you've got no right to even be in a final like this.
Been slightly unlucky, just to be bridging round this side of that yellow.
Yellow ball's in play.
Well, I'm quite surprised to see him miss that. I've watched a little bit of Marc this weekend, and he seems quite solid. Doesn't normally miss routine balls. He'll be really disappointed to miss that.
Lee could really hurt Marc by taking this frame away now.
Yeah, he'll have to screw back off the pot to the middle with a bit of side and come low on the ball near the black to develop the other two near the side rail. But he's gone the other way, where he's going to play the ball into the middle now and try and develop them. I think this way is riskier because you
Could he possibly just stun down onto the red, Rich, and leave one of those yellows to middle?
I don't really know what Lee's doing now, I have to be honest.
I'm not sure he's got a massive angle, if anything at all, here.
Well, if he's on the ball to the middle, he's been quite fortunate here.
It's going to be a very, very hard shot to control. That's an excellent shot from Lee. Still needs a fairly cute little shot with the white here just to get on this black on the bottom cushion.
That's good enough.
Thought he'd underhit it at first, but these cloths down at Great Yarmouth are lightning quick.
You're never really sure whether to play these completely confidently all out, or whether to play them at such a weight that if you miss them, they cover the pocket. I don't think Lee was really thinking about any kind of safety there. That was a simple case of I'm just going to knock it in.
Generous round of applause there for that black as well.
I think it was more for the finish, to be honest, John. I think the position he was left in was a very tricky one, and he came to the table, looked confident, and knocked them in like they were an everyday kind of clearance.
The Irish crowd haven't really gotten behind their man and got into this match yet. It's a little surprising. It's been a feature of a lot of the sort of matches involving the progress of some of the Northern Irish players this weekend.
Yeah, I've been really surprised actually. They were more vocal during the semi-final.
Do you think it's purely a product of Lee just keeping them quiet so far, or perhaps just showing a little bit more respect for the proceedings in the final?
Sixth frame. Mark to break. Trailing 4 frames to 1.
I honestly don't know. It might even be a combination of the two.
Three balls made off the break there for Marc, but not a massive split.
Mark, yellow ball's in play.
Very loose. Very, very loose. I think Marc's head's dropped here. I think the finishes that Lee Morris has took in the last couple of frames have hurt him. Would have rightfully thought he was favourite to at least get back to the table in both of the last two frames. And Lee taking out two finishes and making them look just as simple as he did has probably had an effect on him now.
Perhaps a point where Marc could do with a little bit of that fabled support from his University of Ulster teammates just to pick him up. What's Lee going to do with the yellow ball that's just nearest the two reds, bottom right here then, Rich? Where's he going to take that yellow?
He'll just drop the ball in the middle now, run into the red with the cue ball, and then play it past the other yellow into the corner, I think. That's a very surprising shot.
Almost sort of forced to just try and drop it into that middle now then. Tougher than it should have been.
He doesn't look like he's going to miss that a lot right now, though.
Lee's a player who, right from the first time I saw him play at these championships last year, is the sort of player who quite often his opponent will perhaps take a finish on or play a safety which leaves Lee in all sorts of trouble. Lee will be basically faced with having to play an absolute gobshot to turn that frame around or lose the frame, and more than any other player I've ever seen, certainly at this level, he just seems to have the ability to come up with that shot to turn that frame around.
He seems to have toned down that area of his game though this year. I mean, last year he was running around the table a lot more, playing a lot quicker. And he hit the balls a fair amount harder last year to develop balls a lot more, and he plays a slightly different game now where he gets on balls a lot more and relies on solid potting rather than outrageous shot making. But when called upon to make that kind of shot, he does with alarming regularity, really.
Open table.
Still no ball off the break for Lee Morris.
Well, I'll tell you something. I bet he'd have took not getting a ball off the break and being 5-1 up after 6 frames.
Who wouldn't, certainly.
Francisco Bustamante.
Once again.
Famous Filipino 9-ball player who once said he'd rather get a ball off every break than win the World Championship.
Yellow ball's in play.
And it might be worth noting that Bustamante still hasn't won the World 9-ball Championship. But he does get a ball off nearly every break.
Red ball's in play.
So Marc's just trying to manufacture a bit of a grasp on this frame, get himself into a frame in this match. He's straight away looking at a pot to middle though, and then the possibility of suddenly pushing a ball down towards this corner, if not planting one in. 5-1 up in the way Lee's playing. I'd be surprised if he was anything but the finish on his mind right now. Key shots. These balls come out okay. Well, that's an absolutely excellent shot from Lee. I thought he was going to be sort of playing much more fuller into the first ball and slicing it into the second one to play the pot direct, but the way he's played it, he's held the cue ball for the pot on the second one and opened the bag wide open for the black.
be playing that ball last for the black, I believe. That's a touch loose. He'd have liked to have been a bit straighter on this. But I still don't expect him to miss this finish.
Just a case of where he lands the white ball here, Rich. I don't think he's got any choice but to still play the ball he was intending to be on.
How confident he actually feels in his own touch. I don't see any real problem in dropping this ball into the middle bag dead weight. I certainly wouldn't have played it that hard. If you're going to play it that hard, I think you've got to play it as a stun shot and come across the face of the red that he's now closest to. Leave it straighter into the corner.
Quite some crowd assembled around the table 35 to watch the final now. Probably a good 100 or so people in attendance.
I'd say it'd be closer to 200, I think, John.
Absolute best of order for this final, though.
I think we're seeing the last action from the final here.
Well, still quite a sort of fairly tricky shot. Perhaps not wouldn't go as far as to say
I'd be quite
hard.
surprised if he missed the red, and he can't snooker himself on the
Yeah,
black.
he's certainly not going to be missing the black if this red does go in, but it's not a gimme. He's just put it a little wide.
Well, I can officially declare myself surprised.
Potentially a turning point. A few little bits of vocal support there from the Ulster contingent for Marc.
Really like Marc's done a lot wrong in this match so far, to be honest. The first couple of frames were scrappy, but since then it's all been about Lee Morris and about the finishes he's taken out.
Do you think Marc's got pretty much no choice but to go for the finish here, Rich?
I think if that were me, I'd have dropped the ball in over the pocket, the one he's just played. Left Lee queuing off the top cushion at the red. Maybe even push this one over the pocket behind the red. It's risky, but
Very good shots there now.
I definitely wouldn't want to have left this ball like this.
Absolutely massive shot now for Marc. If he gets this wrong, it'll almost certainly be his last shot of this year's UPC books.
That is simply phenomenal. What a great shot that is.
The shot of the match, generous round of applause for that.
That's a fantastic finish. That really is. Under that sort of pressure, having not been at the table for however many times, not having a shot at a finish, then to take out a finish like that under that sort of pressure is Paul of the highest order right there.
Do you think that could be the turning point then, Rich? I know it's a long way back, but brings a little bit of the sort of the vocal support getting behind Marc now. It could make a great difference to Marc's sort of psyche in this match.
I don't think it'll be a turning point as such, John. I heard some people talking before the match about what the score was likely to be, and I asked a couple of people myself, and the consensus seemed to be it was going to be around the 6-2 mark.
One comment I've heard a little bit this weekend that I've not entirely understood from the Irish contingent have been one of their sort of shouts of encouragement to their player to do with the fax machine.
Frame, Marc's break, training 5 frames to 2.
I think
And running.
what they're actually saying, John, and you're misunderstanding because of their quite strange accent, is they're actually saying fox.
A fox? You mean like the Surely not. The small furry animal that raids people's bins and eats their scraps? Well, they wouldn't say that, surely.
I think so, John.
Oh, I'm completely baffled by that. Why would they be calling their own player a fox?
Yellow ball's in play. Red ball's in play.
Slightly scrappy opening to this 8th frame.
I think Lee needs to take stock and realise that he is still 5-2 up, and although he didn't finish the match off when he had a good chance to do so in the last frame, he's still ahead and he still has a match to win. I think he's playing a touch quicker in this frame already and needs to just steady himself a little bit.
Is there such a thing as taking stock with Lee Morris?
Well, I think we just saw it there. He was a pre-tournament favourite for a lot of people when this tournament was being discussed.
Yeah, I certainly remember reading a few comments attributed to yourself, Rich, where you'd mentioned that Lee was your pre-tournament tip for this year.
Yeah, I mean, I fancied winning the tournament myself. I had a title to defend, and I came here, and through a combination of factors, I wasn't good enough. And I tipped Lee, partially because you can't really start tipping yourself to win tournaments, but also because I do feel that Lee pots balls and takes out finishes that most people just A, can't see, and B, can't get.
I think a few people would argue with you on that point, Rich.
I do think that Lee plays a touch too aggressively sometimes, and I think that sometimes he pots balls that he shouldn't pot from positions where it'd be advantageous to keep balls on the table. But again, that's just highlighting the difference between a world rules mentality and a black ball rules mentality. And, I'm not sure if I'd be completely right in saying that. I think he's only played maybe 5 world rules events. Seems to have adapted fairly well to the rules, but I know that they're still not coming naturally to him. I haven't got any previous knowledge of Marc Higgins, so I can't really comment on his own strategies or.
Certainly we've never seen Marc in the UK inter-universities events before. I'm led to believe he's played quite a handful of times maybe in the Irish intervarsities. That tournament of course played to world rules as well. Lee was hoping to just leave himself low on this yellow to be able to go into the black, but hampered now by bridging right over this red ball. pot, but lost the white slightly, and the cannon hasn't been kind to him, so he's, I don't think he's quite total snookered, but certainly can't do a great deal with this black.
I think sometimes, John, you've got to abandon flair, and you've got to abandon all sorts of tactical prowess, and you've just got to say, I'm going to hit this, I'm going to hit it full, and I'm going to hit it hard, and I'm going to hope it goes in somewhere. That means coming off a cushion and hitting it, and that's what you've got to do.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Rich. It's, he's potentially one ball away from being crowned this year's champion. I'd be giving it every chance to find a home somewhere.
I really don't see the advantage of that shot.
No, he's basically...
He's given him the same option, or the same opportunity he would have given him had he played the big shot on it. But the way he's played it, he's not giving himself any chance of winning. He's now relying on a mistake.
Yeah, slightly trickier shot this time for me, because he won't be able to come off one cushion and attempt to kick the black into the left middle. I'm pretty sure there's red in the way of the black's path to that pocket.
The black doesn't go to either middle pocket.
Well, he's certainly having a good look at something in that direction. I'm not entirely sure what. Perhaps a kick double to the right middle?
Two cushion kick double to the right hand middle pocket.
Come on, Higgins. Come on, Higgins. That can block spin head in the game. You know what you're doing, Daddy. Daddy.
Well, this would be some way to win a tournament.
That's a million miles away, but Marc Higgins with a chance now. Do you think he'll take these on, Rich, or is he going to be trying to manufacture two visits for himself just to make it a slight little bit safer?
I think it comes down to bottle, to be honest. I think if he's confident in his own ability and he believes in, he believes that he's going to roll these in, and he plays them confidently, then he'll take them out. If you start trying to think defensively when you've got 7 balls in the open, then you're really going to struggle to win matches.
We're away for 4 frames, so we're back. Let's go. Is that Higgins? That is Navy.
So, taking the early ones out, it's now quite a fairly routine finish for Marc. Really shouldn't be any thoughts about missing these. I'm still not convinced, Rich. I think it's like a fact. Marc's about to level this match. About to level the match at all. So, about to make it 5-3.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't worth 4 frames all by itself.
Just like a fax, it is now 5-3.
You've lost me there, John.
Like a fax. Mind your neck in, Rich.
Run, you're on the long bar, sir. Get your head between your legs. Let's go, Higgins.
Will he start to be getting a little bit jittery inside now, Rich? He's had a couple of shots on a black to win the championship. A couple of frames since he's been on the hill.
Come on, Higgins.
Ninth frame, leads break, leading 5 frames to the
Let's see if these balls split through the middle. It's the one thing he's not been able to do all week. Is just get those balls to open straight through the middle of the pack.
Do you think it's possibly a product of the fact that he's breaking from the side?
Quite possibly.
It's a better break, but still no ball for Lee Morris.
Well, it's quite surprising that you can keep hitting the break as well as that and not get a single ball. You'd expect law of averages that the law of averages to say that if enough balls go around the table that they're going to find a pocket sooner or later.
Not the best opening shot from Marc.
No, that was quite loose. He needed to run the white another 6 inches further down the table.
Never disaster he's missed, but certainly he'd have fancied taking the Reds out there to claw another frame back.
I think Lee's completely given up all thoughts of playing this game tactically and playing the match the way that he was playing it earlier on, and he's now simply looking to take the clearance out in one shot every frame.
A little surprised he's not taking the yellow up to the top left-hand corner.
I'm amazed.
Possibly about to pay the price for it.
I cannot believe that he hasn't played that yellow there. Well, we've just had confirmation it is Fox that they're saying, unless they have nicknames for their fax machines, one of which is Basil Brush.
Could well be a model that we haven't yet heard of this side of the Irish Sea, Rich.
That's a fantastic shot.
Could this be the crowning glory? Still a tough shot. He's got to slot this yellow, the difficult yellow near the bottom right-hand corner, into the middle, off that red ball. That'll open the bag up for the black, and hopefully leading nicely on the yellow that'll be remaining in the open to the left middle. Oh, the yellow's there. He's gone a little bit further with the white than he'd have hoped. You're going to have to just ping this round 3 cushions now.
Either that or play the biggest drag shot the world's ever seen.
Again, I don't think he played on the black for that top corner, but he's...
I don't think he matters.
Well, the towel's come in from Marc Higgins. A little surprised at that.
And I'd have made him pop that.
Certainly wouldn't have expected Lee to miss that, but it's a sporting end to what was a pretty competitive match in the end.
The first time I've ever actually seen a towel thrown in a ball match.
So, Lee Morris becomes the 4th name to have won the UPC Books Individual Championship. Lee Morris is the champion for 2008 to 2009.
And a worthy winner.